Good evening and welcome to the Knit Reveal podcast. My name is Sarah and it is Monday, September 6th, 2021. I had to look down at my notes just to see what the date was. I know it's Monday. We've had the whole day off. In fact, we've had 3 days off because it's Labor Day weekend. So today was my day off of work and I got paid for it. Benefits of working for the county. Anyway, so this is a knitting podcast, and I come to you from the Sierra foothills of California, and I'm a wife and a mother of two, one daughter and one son. So, as you may have heard, the Sierra foothills, or the Sierra Nevada mountains, are a part of that fire that has been burning for the last couple weeks, the Caldor fire, so I can't not mention that because of the devastation it has caused in our community. Absolutely just tragic. It's how many homes have burned and how many acres and acres of woodland, which is our beautiful, forest right here on the slope of the Sierra Nevada mountains. So anyway, it's even made it onto the eastern slope of the Sierra Nevada mountains, which is just insane. But anyway, they're getting it under control. It's about 50% contained apparently now, and some people are returning their homes. Of course, there are people that aren't returning their homes, but this is not a podcast about the status of the Caldor fire. This is a podcast about knitting. So, first of all, like we like to start, is the finished objects. Oh, I hear my doggy. He's barking a little bit. Bear. It's okay. It's okay. So, it's evening here. It's about 8:30 in the evening, and, that means it's kind of bedtime for my son. Although he does have a cold, so I don't think he's going to be going to school tomorrow, so I don't think I need to get him into bed by 8:30 this evening. I've actually been planning for this podcast for about the last hour and a half. Couldn't get the light figured out because, of course, I had to do different lighting because there's no natural light, and then I had to write my script, my agenda, so because there's a lot to share. So we've already been talking for 2 minutes and I haven't shared anything. Anyway, first of all, finished objects. Okay, so I'm going to start with some of my summer sock camp finished objects. So basically, I had hoped to enter another pair of socks. However, I got excited about doing the Crazy Sock Lady's new DK weight vanilla sock pattern. And so I went out. I was staying with my sister for a couple days and relaxing down there because my health was just not great and she was just kind of taking care of me. But we went to Joann's and we picked up some yarn and I picked up some needles because I didn't have anything on me. I take that back. I did have another project on me, but I didn't want to work on that because it was starting to hurt my hands a little bit. So I went to the store and got this other yarn, and it is, I'm supposed to show it to you, it's lime brand yarn. And this is the ice cream, and this is the cookies and cream colorway. And you can see there is quite a bit of yarn left, and I have already finished an entire pair of socks. So basically this is just cheap acrylic yarn. I know I keep saying cheap, I don't know, I could probably find a different word for that, but it's bargain yarn. That's what we should call it, bargain yarn. So basically it has a nice little variegated pattern, and these are the socks. So this nice little pair of socks are basically DK weight because it says on here that this is 3, which is light. So that to me would point to DK weight, which is like double fingering weight. And so anyway, this will count as 2 entries into the summer sock camp because I used Kay's pattern for DK weight vanilla socks, and these took me about 3 days. I mean, they are super fast. I can see why people knit them. Basically, I used a size 3 needle, and I knit them from the cuff down. I did the heel flap and gusset with a reinforced heel, and they're super cozy. I mean, basically, these are going to go in the wash, dry, and they'll just be fun kind of house socks, maybe some socks I wear in some boots. I don't expect them to last forever. I bet you because this was about $4.99 that these are like $1.50 socks. Hey, great. And yeah, so I really love them, and I'll pop up. In fact, I've already started another pair, but that's in the whips section of this podcast. So anyway, that is my first finished object. So next we have some more socks. So basically I got 2 entries for that set of patterns, and I get 2 entries for the next one. So you saw these already. These are the Whispers in the Wind sock pattern by Crazy Sock Lady. And it is super cute pattern. I actually left one of them off the sock blocker, so you can see I have a pair. And again, this counts as 2 entries. So total, I got 5 entries. And I noticed in my particular cabin, which was Magic Loop Cabin, there were 4,200 entries. So I think I have a less than, I think I have a 1 in 1,000 chance, which would make sense. 5 out of 4,000. So yeah, I think that's math. That's right. Anyway, so this is my, oh my goodness, my daughter just came into the room and she is on Marco Polo with somebody, I don't know who, and I am recording my podcast. So she is recording me recording my podcast. Anyway, again, this pattern, it was just so adorable. It's a cute little slip stitch right here or a little faux cable, I should say, which requires some slip stitch. It's a notification on my computer. Okay, so anyway, these are the Whispers in the Windsocks, and so this is out of Malabrigo sock yarn, and I am in love with this yarn. I hope to get some more of this, but because look, I knitted an entire pair of socks, and I still have this giant ball left of this yarn. Now this was the gift yarn, so I really don't know how much it cost. I believe it was from my local yarn store, Lofty Lou's, but basically, yeah, it's got so much left. I could probably get possibly some shorty socks out of this that have contrasting heels, toes, and calves, I believe, and that would be adorable. So anyway, these are finished object number 2. So number 3, my everyday shawl is complete, and it is so nice, you guys, and it is so beautiful. Here it is in all its beautiful lacy glory. Everybody is home tonight because, of course, it's the evening. My husband is sitting on the couch doing some work. He's just kind of admiring me. He just gave me this cute little look. Our anniversary is in a few days, and we've just been kind of in love lately, so it's just really funny. So he's just sitting there admiring me show off this cute little shawl. So anyway, this is out of Lisa Susie yarn in her Timaru style yarn, which is a merino and bamboo blend. So it's a beautiful scarf. I kind of blocked it a little bit more than I should have probably, but I think it just turned into such a gorgeous finished object. I mean, it's just beautiful. And as I was telling you last time, that I had a friend I wanted to give this shawl to, and in fact I will be giving to her before I even go on the yarn crawl. For one, her husband didn't make it. He unfortunately has passed away, and this was just a few days ago, and I decided I'm going to send this shawl to her right away, right after I showed it to you all. Anyway, it's very sad, but this is the shawl, and I think that it wears great. It wraps many times because I blocked it so ferociously. I contacted Lisa Souza on Instagram, and because she's in our community too, she's a local yarn dyer, and so she was actually evacuated as a part of the Caldor fire as well. I think she just made it back home like yesterday or the day before, because they've just let some folks into the different neighborhoods further east, or excuse me, further west, that the fire is no longer affecting. So anyway, and she said to just block it and then spray it with water, and that's what I did. I didn't soak it and then block it, which is how I usually do my blocking. So anyway, that's the yarn, or the shawl. But I am going to send one more thing to my friend. This was actually a baby hat that I knit for her. She, as I mentioned on my, I think, last podcast, she has 4 children. The youngest is 3, and I knit this for the 3-year-old 3 years ago when it was supposed to be a newborn hat, and unfortunately, because they had moved away, I'm a loser, and I never sent it to her. I feel terrible. So I'm sending it to her now as a part of this this gift package, and I hope she'll forgive me for never sending it. Maybe she can use it for a gift herself to someone else, or she could possibly just keep it as a memento for her son. I'm not sure, but anyway, I felt like I must get this to her now. And yeah, so anyway, I knit this up a few years ago. I don't remember the pattern. There's tons of them online because these cute little sheep are everywhere. So, and I think I just used some scrap acrylic yarn, and yeah, it turned out super cute. Very, very cute little sheepy pattern. So I'll be sending those to her as soon as possible. I got her a bottle of wine because she's not in California anymore, and we are known for our wine, and she does like wine. So anyway, I will be sending that with her package. So that was finished object number 3, which is all the finished objects we have this time. That's actually quite a few, considering that shawl is such a huge project. That's quite a feat. So anyway, on to whips. We have 7. Now, I have 7 in progress in the last 4 weeks. That doesn't mean that all of these will continue to be in progress right now, and some of them will be probably finished sooner than later. But anyway, first one is actually a little pair of socks, and I'll tell you why this one may not continue to be a finished object. Here it is, or anytime soon, because I have taught my daughter how to knit, and we decided, and this was a while back. Now, she had seen this pair of socks at Lofty Lou's on the section where they sell the Regia yarn, and it was in a watermelon-looking self-striping yarn. And for years, we were looking at this yarn and thought, we wish that Lofty Lou's would carry it. Well, then the other day we decided, why don't we just look it up online? Sorry, Lofty Lou's. So we did, and we looked up the yarn online, and we got it, and so that was actually a new acquisition that I can't show you because she is working on it. But anyway, I needed to teach her how to cast on, and I felt like magic loop is a little confusing for your first like circular cast on. So I decided to show her on double pointed needles. So essentially, this is barely a work in progress. I probably could just frog it because I don't want to knit these socks right now. But I started them so I could show her how to do it. They're just from that Lana Grossa yarn I bought a few weeks ago on eBay that thought was, you know, merino nylon, but in fact they're cotton, which is not my favorite. But hers is cotton too, the Regia that she got. So anyway, so this is just in the colorway, I think Holiday it's called. So yeah, that's a work in progress, but it probably, like I said, won't be finished anytime soon. But I will probably switch it over to some Chagu needles so that we can work on it, because I'm not a fan of double points anymore. I really prefer magic loop. So anyway, that's that project that. I actually put everything in project bags tonight because there were so many things to show you. I needed to have them like not in a giant mess. So anyway, number 2, my 2-hoop cardigan. Now, this again is not probably going to be worked on for a little bit of time because I have so many other whips in progress, or works in progress. But I think last time you saw the sleeve, one sleeve, but now I've worked on a whole other sleeve. So here it is. This is probably about half done, I would say. Well, let's compare. There we go. And of course, the light in here is atrocious for showing this. It looks like it's all gray, but in fact it is gray at the bottom, and then it's got this beautiful mauvey pink color in the main part, which is how I'm going to do the sweater itself. So I'm not going to talk too much more about this, except that it is in Amari Yarn, which is a New Zealand yarn company, and it is part New Zealand wool and part possum. And I talked about on my last podcast how the possums had overrun New Zealand and they've decided to make them into possum yarn. So, because they were really, really taking over. So, anyway, you know, it's funny because I watch all these podcasts and people are like, oh, I already talked about this in my last podcast. Well, what if this is your first time watching? How are you going to know? Are you going to want to go back and watch the old podcast where I talk about what I'm going to work on, what I'm going to finish? No, I might as well tell you about it right here. You're here now. Don't you want to know about it? I don't know. I guess if I had more followers than 30, they might get bored of hearing about the same things over and over. But I really, are you guys, do you want to complain, you guys? Go ahead. Leave some comments down below. You've already talked about that. You already told us that was New Zealand wool and possum. Anyway, all right. So number 3, the Canavera Shawl. Okay, so basically, oh, my son's blowing his nose in the background. No fun. So my husband came home one day and had gone down to Lofty Loos, and it's kind of convenient that we have a Lofty Loos in our neighborhood because he can just stop by and buy me a gift if he wants to. So he bought me this gorgeous, I mean gorgeous, lace weight ball of yarn, and I think it's like 120 grams of yarn. So it is going to make just a absolute gorgeous shawl. So I looked up a pattern right away, and it's called the Canavera Shawl. Now I have a picture of it somewhere. I don't know where it is. So I'm sorry. I already printed the pattern, and basically this is it. And look at how it's striping up. So it's got these beautiful little pools of blues and whites and pinks. And of course that's just marking basically where the front was and where the back was. And then it's got these eyelets, which I think I was doing my yarn overs a little bit too tight on this side, and obviously a little looser on this side. I'm not worried about it. I will block it, and hopefully they open up a little bit more. But anyway, that's the progress I've made on that little shawl, and that's probably not going to be something I work on very quickly because the next work in progress is the one I was talking about the last time. So basically, I was waiting for some yarn in the mail, and it arrived. So basically, oh, I keep saying that basically. You guys don't want to keep hearing that. So, let's see, where is it? I've lost it. Where did it go? I've lost the whip. I'm looking for it, and I can't find it. I'm not joking. Oh, no? I must have carried it into the room. I will have to stop here, and we will have to pick up in a moment. And we're back. So basically, the shawl was sitting behind me. So it's in the bag that the yarn came in from Lovecrafts. So basically, I keep saying that, I don't know why. It came with these balls that I ordered of this, what was called online sport weight. Now, I do not believe that this is sport weight. This really feels like fingering weight yarn, or even lace. I mean, it is really, really, really fine. So it is the Cloudborne Fibers Alpaca Wool Sport. That's what it says. It really does say that. But it just seemed too fine. So when you see compared to the others, so basically this is the Barocco Ultralight. So this is also an alpaca merino blend, and it is gorgeous. I absolutely love working with it. And then my daughter is talking. She knows I'm recording right now. So this was supposed to, okay, thanks. I'm recording the podcast. So this was supposed to be my color palette. It was supposed to be this beautiful winey red and this beautiful mustard yellow, gray, light gray, and dark gray. So this yarn, because it was so fine, I decided the minute I opened the package that I needed to go down to my local yarn store, Lofty Loos, and get some different yarn. So the ladies were so helpful. Karen and the other lady that was there, I don't remember her name, but Karen's my friend, Karen, who's going on the yarn crawl with me. So, oh, speaking of the yarn crawl, I'll say it right here. So because of the Caldor fire, they have postponed the yarn crawl. So that means that I have another few weeks to, in fact, knit another shawl. And you'll see, it's coming up next. But right now, I am working on this Opus Shawl. So Karen is the one I'm going to do this Nevada yarn crawl with. She actually works at Lofty Loos, but she is my friend as well. So she and the other gal there, we looked at colors, we looked at everything. I tried to get the same red and yellow that we did, but in fact, we looked and found these gorgeous balls of yarn. So this is, let me look at my notes. So it is Jody Long Alba yarn, and basically it is a non-superwash wool and it's got these beautiful little tweedy bits in it. I'm not sure you can see them, but they are there. There's little flecks of blue. Sometimes they're yellow and white and things. And this also has little tweedy bits as well. Of course, some dog hair and other little treats too. So those are my yarns. So I ended up getting the new yarns. I'll find something else to do with the Cloudborn, of course. And I think that will make actually some gorgeous socks. But of course, usually you don't use alpaca for socks, so I'm not sure about that. We'll figure something out to do with them, I'm sure. But here, I know you want to see, here is my shawl. So here it is so far. This is called the Opus Shawl, and it is by Max the Knitter. And of course, he is part owner in Les Garçons Boutique, which makes these cute little pins. I think I showed this before, but I bought it from his little website, and it is a Highland cow, Scottish cow, and so here's my shawl. So of course I haven't woven in any ends, and it is a asymmetrical shawl, and I'm not really sure. This side is very, very, very tight, and then this side is super duper duper loose. So it's got an I-cord edging on it, which stripes up very, very cute, and it's got this beautiful little these pearl bumps that kind of go every other little stripe here, and I used orange, which is my absolute favorite color. So it is, and the blues, I mean, you'll see this again. Hopefully I record my next podcast in the daytime and you'll be able to see it more. But you want to see the back? So here's the back. It's very interesting. So this is obviously has a front and a back, and so you would wear it in that way and not, you know, have it like all over the place. You'd wrap it so that you would only see the front of it. But it's really fun. I did make a mistake right here. I knit across, and then I forgot that I got into the side, and I knit across with this next yarn, and then I realized it, so I had to knit across again, and then across again. So those little rows are kind of messed up. But the front, of course, looks perfectly normal. You can't even tell. So, and you wouldn't be able to tell because it's still the same types of thing. Super simple pattern, just basically slip stitches, as you can see, because you can see the floats in the back here, and then knits and purls. I mean, there's nothing complicated about the shawl at all. But this is the shawl that I said earlier, it does kind of hurt my hands after a while, and I think it's because I'm trying to stretch between these floats and to make sure that they're really loose. Of course, I will be seriously blocking this because right now, as you can see, it kind of goes into these little strips, and I really want it to lay flat more when I wear it. So I'm hoping that if I wash it in some seriously hot water, don't swish it, and some Eucalan or something, some light wash, that I will be able to block this and it will just grow and flatten very beautifully. So that is my Opus Shawl, and it is a part of a knit along, and that's why it's kind of like priority #1 for me, because it has to be done by October 12th to be a part of the prize giveaway, which actually he's giving away cash, Max the Knitter. So I hope to have it done by then, and then I can wear it on my Sierra Nevada yarn call as well. So they've postponed it to October 14th to 17th, which is actually fantastic because the old dates were over my anniversary, which, yeah, that makes my husband happier, doesn't it? That I will be here for my anniversary and not somewhere else with a whole bunch of ladies looking at yarn. But I can't wait. Jimmy Bean Wools posted on their Instagram that they now have a yarn library. So you know, like those little libraries that are around town that you can like put in a book and you can borrow a book and all this kind of stuff. They have a yarn library. You basically take your yarn there, drop off a little, you know, skein or two, and then, oh, now he's recording me. So, and you can take a ball of yarn. Hi. He's recording me. I don't know why. This is a funny episode. I'm sorry. Very, very unclassy of me. But anyway, okay, that was #4 of my whips. #5, so I also watched another podcast called Grocery Girls, and they were talking about how they do these knit-alongs. I guess they hadn't mentioned in the last couple of podcasts because I didn't even know about them, but basically they do one every single month. So this month's theme was pumpkin. So I love orange yarn, and you get 2 entries if you enter socks that have orange color in them. So naturally, sign me up. So you couldn't start till September 1st, which I didn't. And I started these on Saturday morning. And I have one whole sock complete. Now this again is out of some bargain yarn from my stash. Hey, I'm using up my stash. Aren't you guys proud of me? I'm not out buying more yarn, although I kind of am. You'll see later on in the acquisitions portion. He's calling me a liar over there. So this is funny. I'm like recording in front of a live studio audience tonight. So these are my yarns. I have no idea what they are. They seemed like DK weight, so hey, that's what we're doing here. Again, size 3 needles. I did about, so actually I was going to enter them thinking I couldn't enter them as an entry just using the orange yarn. I thought I had to find a pattern that had pumpkin in the name, which is a way to enter as a double entry as well, as having a orange colorway name or a pumpkin colorway name or something like that. But turns out I could do it without using a pattern. I could use it as orange yarn as my second entry. I don't think you can have third and fourth entries of the same socks with like colorway names and pattern names. So I found this toe up sock pattern for DK weight socks. And so this is actually my first pair of toe up socks. I have never done one before. I started one many years ago, but could not figure it out. So it's pretty wonky. Look at this heel. Look at how many holes are in that heel. Fortunately, they fit me perfectly, so I won't mind. And look, this weird float right here, what is that? And then of course I didn't like carry my yarns up very nicely. I kind of just wanted to get them done and have them be entered and maybe start another pair. So that's where we are. I haven't even started the second pair. I have serious second sock syndrome at the moment on these socks because I now found out that they went so fast. I could wait till like the last minute, September 30th, and whip up another pair or another sock. So that is whip number 5. Okay, so whip number 6. I already mentioned earlier that I am giving that shawl to my friend who has lost her husband, and fortunately, I have some more Lisa Susie yarn in my stash, and it kind of belonged to me, but kind of not. You remember the tutor for my son? She had given me a bunch of yarn last summer, and I knit her a beautiful shawl out of it, but she had really given me 2 sets of yarn to knit 2 separate shawls. Well, I asked her about it, and I said, are you still looking for me to knit this shawl? Well, I kind of worded it delicately that she might say, I asked her if she would want to use this yarn, I think. Well, long story short, she said, please, if you have something to do with it, do it. So look, my colors again, orange and brown. So these are Lisa Susie yarn again. This is a silk lace weight, and this is let's see. Nope, I didn't write it down, but I believe it has yak in it. And so it's a little fluffier, and I really like it. So I'm really excited about that. So this is how much of the shawl I have done. I cast this on earlier this week, and we are already right here. So it's coming along very nicely, and you can see now from the other finished object how much of this project I still have left. I'm probably maybe a quarter of the way done, maybe even less, maybe a fifth of the way done. I don't know, but this is the shawl. So I've started my second color, and the silk yarn is very nice. I mean, it's very, very gorgeous. So I am very excited about the fact that I will now have a shawl in my colors. Because as maybe I mentioned on the last podcast, the emerald beige shawl, when I went to go cast it on and buy the yarn for it, for the yarn crawl, the only yarns that were left were the colors that I chose, that appealed to me, of course. There weren't these browns and rich autumnal colors, so I didn't get exactly what I wanted, but I still like the palette, and I think it will be perfect for the person that I am going to send it to, so I'm really glad about that. So anyway, this is the shawl, and I've started my first feather and fan section here. I have 2 more to go, and then I'll do some more garter stitch. So that's another, what's that? I don't know what that is. Found a ball band I didn't know I had. Okay, so that's that. Work in progress. Last one. Okay, so this may not again be a work in progress that you see anytime again soon. So you remember all these yarns that I got from my dear friend, the Lone Cowboy, and I put a few of them into the cat, the cat condo over here, and just for the viewing pleasure of you. And I decided. So I was watching a podcast called Sticks and Twine, or yeah, I think it's Twine and Sticks. Sticks and Twine sounds better. So he has this pattern he's knitting called the Modern Log Cabin pattern, and it's basically just a bunch of garter, and you make blocks. You know, you've seen cabin blankets and log cabin, you know, different things. So this is like the basic log cabin, and it's nothing exciting, but I think I've already made it too long. I may frog it. I'm not sure. It just, one night I was watching his podcast and I thought, ooh, I want to start one of those. It seems like it would be better if I made the square about this wide rather than this whole width, because I think I'm going to be knitting on this forever. I mean, this is going to be a long work in progress. This may not be done for years. I don't know if you'll ever see a finished object. We'll see. But because I have all these beautiful colors, I decided I really wanted to use them because unfortunately, as a part of the Caldor fire, the folks that gave me this exact yarn, their house burned to the ground. It's terribly sad. And the night that they were evacuated, they actually came and stayed at our house. We put the futon in my son's room, and they brought their doggy Bailey, and we basically just watched the news and were just devastated that they were pretty sure their house was gone. And by a couple days later, sheriff's office confirmed indeed that their house had burned. They had a picture of their driveway with ash and nothing. So anyway, they asked me had I used the yarn, and I hadn't done anything with it. So I really want to knit this blanket and start something with the yarn that they so graciously treated me to. And yeah, so that's what the Modern Log Day Cabin is all about. So that was my 7th work in progress. Again, a couple of those you may not see for a long time again. They're not really on my like to-do list. That Opus Shawl, for sure. The Sierra Nevada Yarn Crawl Emerald Bay Shawl, for sure. So I must finish those. And of course, the socks, so that I can have more interest in the socks. Can you tell I like to like win a little bit? I mean, hey, why are we here? I know you guys want to learn about knitting, but I'd like to win some prizes. Why not? I don't gamble. I don't play the lottery. So, hey, if I can knit and win prizes, let's do it. So, okay. You've made it this far. I don't know. The last podcast was like, or the first half was like 11 minutes when I had stopped. Now it's 15 minutes. So we're already at like 26 minutes, I think. So basically, the day that my husband brought home that beautiful, beautiful yarn that is for the Canavera Shawl in the lace weight, he also brought me home. What did I put? This again. Oh, here it is. A pair of sock yarn. Now, I have knit socks out of this yarn before, and I have one other set of these, but I'm excited because it is really gorgeous. So you probably can't see this very well, but it's basically an ombre yarn. You get 2 balls, so you can knit the exact same pair of looking socks, and you got these little here in the shop. Hey, Bear, what are you barking about? So it's 75% wool, 27% or 25% natural. I don't know. I couldn't see it. My eyes get really, really tired at the end of the day because of my dry eyes. So basically, this is it. 25% polyamide. And they make some really nice socks. I think in episode 2 or something, I had knit some socks for my husband out of this exact little set. And it's just really convenient because they're already caked up. They come this way. You know you're going to have exactly matching socks. And there's quite a bit left over even after I did my husband's socks. So I think if I knit like some smaller size socks there, then it will make plenty of socks. So acquisition 2, there. Sierra Nevada Yarn Crawl swag. Oh, yes. Okay, so now that the yarn crawl got postponed, I think what they did is they decided that they wanted to put some of the material out. I don't know. But I went and got my new bag. Sierra Nevada yarn crawl, and as a part of buying the bag, you get... Oh, okay, that's just too much barking. We've got to stop. And we are back. And I need some water too. Oh, so much talking. I don't have this much normally. I work from home, so anyway, so it came with this cute little pin, and apparently, so it's a sheep on the back, and then it says Lofty Loos on the front, which is my local yarn shop. So they will be giving us, as we go to the different shops, more little stitch markers with these little things on them. So I'm very excited. My daughter came with me. And in fact, I got another bag. It's a snap bag. It's a mesh bag that's pink, and it also says Sierra Nevada yarn crawl on the front. Guess who has it? She does. She's got her socks in there. So that's fine. She can do that. Oh, look! Here's that shawl. The Canavera shawl. So I won't... So that's what it looks like. Oh, I'm so glad I found a piece of paper. It was in my yarn crawl bag. That's right, my husband put it in there. So, and then I bought this cute little needle gauge as well. How much fun is that? Oh, I just love it. And it's got the Sierra Nevada mountains, the beautiful mountains that are now going to be so burnt down. So burnt. Oh, so many thousands and thousands of acres. It's just insane. But anyway, I'm excited to be carrying around this bag on my crawl, and I just can't wait. I'm so excited about it. And we got hotel rooms and everything because we go up to Reno, as I showed you on the last podcast, all these different places, and it's just going to be too much fun. So, okay, that was some more acquisitions. So, okay, yesterday I went to Goodwill. I had some donations, of course. And in fact, I had quite a bit of yarn that I donated. My husband had gone to an estate sale recently, and although there were some things in the bag of yarn that he got for me, there were some things I knew I never would use, and so I decided to donate them to Goodwill. And but of course, while I was there, I had to go check out and see what was available. So much good stuff. It's so funny because he goes there so often, he often finds like maybe one ball or none, but I found all sorts of things. Okay, so this is like some really basic is a good word for acrylic yarn, basic yarn, and it is Premier Everyday, and it says it's anti-pilling and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, the $2.49 for some beautiful just gray yarn, and I think this would make some really nice beanies, or maybe even like kind of a scarf out of this, just kind of a basic something. And then I've got a couple balls of mohair, oh, and some trash. So $1.99 each. Oh, mohair, how exciting. Black too, so that's great, goes with everything. I really want to make another Oslo hat that's the mohair edition. What? I told people I wasn't going to buy any more yarn? That's what my husband just said. But then there was Kobu. You remember the nice little shirt that I knit for my daughter out of the Kobu yarn, and it was cotton and bamboo blend? 1, 2, sorry all the wrestling, 3, 4, they were $1.49. I couldn't resist. Look at that. How fun. And actually, there is even 2 more than this. I'm not joking. One is pink and one is white, and my daughter has already confiscated it. So anyway, we had to get all those. Then there was this yarn, and it had no price on it, but it looks very rustic, looks very much like real wool, and it's actually double yarn. So I'm not sure what this is, how that gets termed. It doesn't show up correctly here. It's actually a kind of a tealy blue, but it looks kind of like aqua blue there, or like sky blue. I'm not sure, but I have a project in mind for this, and that's why I grabbed it. And guess what? Since there was no price, they said 69 cents. Woohoo! What a score! And I am so excited. At least 100 grams. I mean, it's very tightly wound, and like I said, I think it's real wool. So that was very exciting. Well, then I was so excited about that yarn. So basically, we had like this big disaster in our kitchen. Not disaster, but Yeah, this problem with some moths, some pantry moths, not the kind that destroy wool. And we needed some new containers, and we bleached the whole place. We threw away a bunch of food, kept a lot of food, but now they're in storage containers, and I was looking for more containers. That's really why I went to the Goodwill. So we bought some containers, we bought some new containers, some Goodwill containers, and so I decided to go to Hospice, which is also in our town. It's kind of the same type of place where you donate stuff and you buy stuff that has been donated. So I went and looked at their yarn. Well, I found this super cool bag. Now this may look like an ordinary bag, and in fact there was one more ball of yarn in here, but it was like this boucle stuff with some nubs of hot pink and blue, and it wasn't my jam. But I told the lady, if you want, I could just give it back to you and you can sell it again. She said, sure. Are you sure you're not going to use it? I said, no, I just donated a bunch of yarn just like this that I know I wasn't going to use it. But what caught my eye was this ball right here. I guarantee you that's a self-striping yarn, and it's probably in some 75-25 type base and some really nice maker, and I'm so excited about it. I basically bought this whole bag for this yarn. This could very well be, because it's 100 grams, I weighed it, $4.99 for this whole bag of yarn. And check out these. These are also sock weight yarn. I know it. I weighed them. They're like 92 grams altogether, so almost 50 each, which will easily make a pair of socks. And then one little cute ball of cotton, which I can make some nice little, dishcloths and things. So that's not it. One more thing. It's not yarn though, I promise. It is actually some stitch markers. I needed some. I was like constantly looking for the 10 I had. I mean, these things, as you know, are tiny. I mean, these stitch markers. And look, such fun colors. Oh, green, blue, orange. All my favorites. Oh, hey, before we leave, I want to show you one more thing. So remember the let's see, it is the two-hoop cardigan, the one with the possum and the wool. I did a swatch for it, and this is the swatch. Now this has been washed. I did not dry it, I just washed it on a very basic setting in my wash, and it bloomed so beautifully. I mean, I could just sleep on this. I mean, it's definitely rustic, I realize, but the feeling of it on my hands and even on my neck is just gorgeous. I just love it, and it's got such a beautiful halo. I don't think you can see it, but it is so puffy and just gorgeous. And the fabric that it made is just super nice. I just had to show you that. I found it the other day, and I gotta bring that up on the podcast. So that's it, folks. I talked about kind of the fire, which was the big news in the last couple weeks, and one of the reasons our friends who were staying with us for a few days had to move on to a hotel was, I basically, everything went down health-wise because I'd gotten COVID, and things were still not looking up, and it was a lot of energy to have them around, which I loved having them around. It was tragic to me to have them move on, but it was time for them. It was just, stayed here for about 5 days, and oh, you're blowing your nose right on the podcast. Thank you. That's all right. Such is life. It's 9:15. I need to get this boy to bed, and I will actually sign off. But yeah. So I think we're gonna have him up this next weekend and say hello and just talk about what their plans are and things and all that kind of stuff. So that's the end of my podcast, and I hope everybody has some fun knitting and maybe crocheting. I don't know, whatever kind of crafts you do. Eventually, I will get more than 30 followers, I'm sure. YouTube may notice me eventually. Who knows? I don't really care. But I have 100 followers on Instagram these days, and that started from 0. So, hey, there you go. All right. Happy knitting. Talk to you soon.